Okay, let's continue our discussion about fracking. The fracking, as I say, has been around for a long time. The new thing they've added is the horizontal part. uh, they go down, they send water and sand and other chemicals about a mile underground, and then send out these little fingers to the areas around it. So you have a wellhead up here, and he's pretty big because he has to be able to power uh, 1 mile down, and then all these different fingers coming out about a mile also. Okay. And they send this pressurized water down that's got water, sand, and chemicals in it, and that breaks up and releases the natural gas and oil in some places that has been trapped in those micro pockets. The positive of fracking are easy. There's a lot there. The first estimates were very high, and with anything, newer estimates seem to be a little bit more tempered. So they they're hoping that the number of gas wells would double, and the number of the amount coming from those types of wells would go up by 50% in about 20 years. So there's a lot of money to be had, and so there's a lot of good energy here. But what's the problem? Well, number one, just because we've got plentiful amounts does not mean that it is going to keep the price dropping. You'll notice that we have had a precipitous drop. February 07, it was $6.80 a thousand cubic feet, and then by February of 2012, it was $2.46, down 64% in 5 years. Well, this is called a glut, friends, and the problem is that the industry needs to make money. They have to have at least $4 or higher to earn a profits, and so, for example, Chesapeake, which is one or two in the country in size, is going to cut its production. So they're going to wait and let it go back up again. And what's the problem environmentally? Well, water. And I need you to know that water, water, water. It consumes so much water, and it also the fracking chemicals. This is kind of interesting. They were exempted from the Clean Water Act because they were deemed proprietary. Dick Cheney, the vice president under Bush, got that done. He was one of the officers of Halliburton, so they called it the Halliburton loophole. Again, another drilling company. It prevents the U.S. from regulating the process, which is kind of scary to a lot of people. And there was a huge amount of public outcry about it. And so in 2011, a congressional report got them, the 14 leading companies, to disclose what they had. And it was kind of scary stuff. And you kind of wonder why they would put all this crap in it. But 29 chemicals that were either human carcinogens, regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act, or was hazardous under the Clean Air Act. And look at how many they use, 650. Oh boy. Well, what are they? Well, remember, you've got water, and then you've got sand or something else to prop open the fractures. And then the top three are alcohols: methanol, isopropyl, and an ethanol, another type of ethanol. And then the one over here, this is the same stuff, ethylene glycol, that you put inside of your radiator to keep your water liquid. And again, you don't want the water that's going underneath the ground also to freeze, so they mix the ethylene glycol in there. Then you add surfactants, you add chemicals to kill bacteria, keep the pipes from corroding and rusting, and it starts adding up, I guess. So why are people also concerned about their drinking water since they are drilling so far down? The problem is that, well, what they worry about poor production of the concrete well line, because remember, all this stuff is being injected under pretty high pressure, and they're worried also too, these fracture lines, they're not just horizontal, they are also vertical. So if you have a one that moves up, they are feeling that they are worried that it'll pierce the local aquifers. I think more. I say roughly half of the fracking water comes back up. You've got the added chemicals from under the ground, plus you have lovely radioactive materials called normals. They're naturally occurring radioactive. What do you do with it? Well, some people tried to dump it into the sewage system. That that really doesn't. Most municipalities cannot handle that. Plus, they can't remove radioactive material from wastewater. Now, the wastewater is regulated under Clean Water Act so that they can shut them down. They're talking now about recycling, but at least in Ohio, they have very little control, the state regulators, about who are recyclers and what they're doing with it. And you got some stuff remaining underground, which is kind of scary too. Another thing that happened was Ohio said, give it to us. We've got injection wells. But unfortunately, those filled up pretty fast, and we can see this is from Pennsylvania. It's been doing it longer than we have, and they say they've got plenty of trouble. Thank you very much. In Ohio, we're going to see a lot more coming up. You saw where the two bedrocks, the Marcellus and the Utica Shale, meet right in the middle of Ohio. So this is going to be very, very profitable and very, very busy. Poor Youngstown, though, they seem to come under a lot of trouble with this. Youngstown, well, first, all those injection wells seem to have caused earthquakes. Great. Second thing is, on Valentine's Day, they found a guy deliberately dumping thousands of gallons into a tributary of the Mahoning River. Great. And then a couple of days later, this little guy from who said he was a recycler was well, this came out. I'm sorry. The Ohio Environmental and Natural Resources officials say they don't know how many recyclers there are, how much wastewater is being produced, what's in it, or where does it goes. So that's kind of freaky, especially since they're using 2 million gallons of this stuff. And so this is just one called Patriot. Just because you call yourself Patriot doesn't make you a good guy. They seem to be, I like this, science-based. They say it's environmentally safe, but I don't know what the they need to put a change in the state law to make sure that they are doing useful and what they are saying they're doing. Okay, extreme oil, or the race for what's left over after all the liquid stuff comes, or the easy to get to liquid stuff runs out. The demand is still rising, especially in China and India. So now we have this weird thing where we've got lots of oil, but it's expensive. You know, you kind of think the two, supply and demand, yeah. It is a lot there. We got plenty of it, but it doesn't make it any cheaper because we may get it domestically, but people are paying a pretty penny for it internationally. Okay, so the news sources are often dirtier with higher risk of catastrophic accidents, and burning all this leftover oil will likely lock the world into very dangerous climate change. This is a really crummy slide, but it's got them all together. So we got tight oil. This is doing fracking. This is doing fracking for oil as opposed to just gas. And we're seeing that up here and here. We are looking at Arctic offshore. Thank you, climate change. We got a lot more area that's not icy around the year. Then we've got Brazil. Oh, lovely. Right by Rio de Janeiro. There are these thick layers of salt beneath the ocean, and they've got a lot of oil down there. Yikes. The scary thing is, we saw it in the Gulf. That would be nothing compared to this. A blowout would be extremely difficult to control. Okay. And they're drilling 9,000 feet, and then additional rock, and then 5,000 feet of salt. Oil shale. Shale is solid. It is kind of nasty. It has to be treated before it can be to get the oil from the shale, and it takes a lot of money. You can see it costs over $100 a barrel. And then finally, oil sands. Oil sands are also a non, it's not like sweet crude. It's dense, viscous, quite nasty, quite sharp, and you get it through open pit mining. And this is the stuff that is being sent down through the Keystone pipeline. And you can see why. See, it's very cheap. Here's what it looks like. It is uh, sticky, tar-like. It is not the stuff coming out of the Beverly Hillbillies. Here's the Keystone Pipeline already online. The black part was built and came online in 2010. This part down here was okayed by Obama March 22nd, 2012, and this is to get it down to the refineries down the Gulf of Mexico. The big fight is over this XL part right here. We'll see what happens. TransCanada moved it off of the sensitive, environmentally sensitive area. You see this Ogoala Aquifer? She's a huge source of water, 400 by 800 miles, and in some places that's only 2 feet underground is the top of the and once you pollute it, it is near impossible to clean up. So as of right now, which is February 2013, the State Department has come out with a new report saying it is environmentally safe to drill it where it is. So we shall see what Obama does. It's a lot of money and a huge amount of oil. The fear is, though, that it is sedimentary rock. It is dirty. It is corrosive, and they're worried about its transportation thousands of miles down to the Gulf Coast. And the TransCanada, though, says it'll be the thousands of sensors will make it the safest pipeline in North America. And if we don't buy it, they will send it through, and they probably still will anyway, send it westward through some beautiful virgin forest to the Pacific to send to Asia. You do have spills. Routinely you have spills, and they're pretty big. And when you're talking about millions of gallons, and this is a long time. Remember, that's 20 years, 21 years, but still, it is quite a bit. This is the fracking of oil, and this is this is where the boom is. We'll see how long it lasts. These oil wells don't last very long. They have to keep moving, but they are just people are everywhere. They call it a man town because so many men have moved there, single men have moved there to work on this. And does it mean the return $2 gallons? Nope. It's true that reducing oil imports is good for the U.S. economy. Cutting imports keeps that money in the U.S. It's also good for our companies like Exxon, Shell, and Chevron, but they are going to make multi-billion-dollar profits. They do trickle down with jobs. See how many jobs were created? Oh my goodness. But it is not up to us. We are not setting the price. It is largely the big juggernaut of China eating up huge amounts of the oil market. And even if we are energy independent, we cannot control the prices. And as this guy says, the former head of the government agency, the EIA, it's fine, but it doesn't mean that much meaning in a globalized economy. But if we make it here, it keeps it here, as opposed to sending it to the Middle East to bulk up their economy or someplace else. Okay. And please don't forget that what oil also means. There is an environmental cost. The new sources will be more polluting, more dangerous. This is the big open pits of the Alberta tar sands, and this is what used to be beautiful country. And here it is. They have to do some refinery before they can send it down through the pipeline. And they're saying it'll be a bigger carbon footprint just because of all the refinery and just how it is not clean material. And for the extreme areas, it is very likely we'll see another Deepwater Horizon spill on the horizon. It's really sad, but it's that's just the direction they're going.